Before Delamar had a name or a future, this land existed in silence, unchanged.
That silence broke the moment silver was discovered beneath the desert floor, awakening dreams far larger than the land itself.
In a single handful of stone, the future of this empty desert was quietly rewritten.
Word spread quickly, and people arrived faster than planning, caution, or reason could keep up. Delamar wasn't built carefully. It was assembled in urgency, shaped by speed rather than foresight. Opportunity pulled thousands into the open desert, each convinced they arrived just in time.
The hills surrounding Delamar were opened without hesitation, each tunnel chasing veins of promised wealth.
The town expanded around whatever the earth was willing to give.
Businesses followed belief, supplying a population that assumed prosperity would continue indefinitely.
Delamar quickly became more than a mining camp. It became a living, breathing town.
Newspapers carried Delamar's name far beyond Nevada, advertising success while hiding uncertainty.
At its height, more than 3,000 people believed this desert settlement was permanent.
Few stopped to question how fragile this sudden success truly was.
The deeper they dug, the more the town demanded from both the land and its people. As the sun set, Delamar stood confident, believing the boom would never end.
But unseen and unnoticed, the desert had already begun preparing its response.
Delamar did not earn its name through explosions or collapse, but through something far more dangerous, what could not be seen. The gold ore beneath Delamar was unusually rich, but it carried arsenic and silica hidden inside the stone.
To extract the gold, the ore was crushed dry, releasing toxic dust into the air with every strike.
That dust carried microscopic silica and arsenic particles, invisible but deadly when inhaled.
Every breath pulled poison deep into the lungs, where the body could not remove it. Day after day, miners worked inside clouds of dust, unaware they were slowly destroying themselves.
The first symptoms were easy to ignore. Just a cough, just fatigue, just another hard day. The dust followed miners home, settling into clothes, furniture, and shared air.
Inside the body, silica scarred lung tissue, slowly turning breathing into pain.
The disease did not kill quickly. It weakened its victims over months and years. Families watched helplessly as strong men slowly lost the ability to breathe. Deaths became frequent, blending together until loss felt routine.
So many wives were left behind that the town itself began to change.
Homes remained full of dust, but empty of the men who built them.
The desert carried their memory in the same dust that killed them. That is why Dela became known as the Widowmaker. In Delamar, the most dangerous force was invisible and quiet, arriving slowly with each passing day.
Some stones bear names, but many are worn away, leaving identities forgotten.
The work looked ordinary to any observer, repetitive and harmless, yet every strike of the hammer released microscopic spurs.
The fine silica and arsenic floated freely, invisible yet deadly, settling on skin, clothes, and deep ankle feints. Symptoms appeared gradually: a cough, shortness of breath, fatigue, But each sign was dismissed as each step deeper underground pulled more dust into the lungs, slowly stealing the breath and weakening the body without any immediate alarm. The men rested, shared water, and continued working, unaware that the very air they breathed was shaping their inevitable decline.
The deadly dust followed them home, contaminating their lives and leaving families exposed to the same silent killer that haunted the tunnels.
The lungs weakened slowly, every breath turning heavier, each cough a reminder that the danger was already inside.
Doctors could do little to help, for the disease revealed itself only after irreparable damage had been done, leaving both patient and physician helpless.
Families watched quietly as strong men slowly faded, the vitality they once took for granted slipping away day by day without notice.
Deaths became common, repeated, and almost normalized, until the town itself seemed to mourn in silence for those who disappeared quietly.
The widows multiplied, their presence a living reminder of Delamar's invisible toll, as countless
homes remained filled with dust and memories, yet emptied of the voices that once animated them, leaving silence behind. The same desert wind that once carried hope now scattered dust across graves, a quiet echo of lives lost and promises broken.
In Delamar, death never came with a bang. It arrived slowly, invisibly, leaving... The cemetery of Delamar stands as a silent witness, where the lives of young men ended long before their time.
Here lie young miners.
In some families, loss came repeatedly, leaving multiple markers side by side, a tragic testament to a single household's suffering. Many graves remain nameless, silent witnesses to lives that the desert claimed quietly, without ceremony or recognition.
Some families left reminders of their love and grief, fragile flowers that time and dust would soon claim.
The desert stretches beyond, swallowing the markers gradually, as if
many of these lives ended in their 20s and 30s, victims of invisible forces that few could resist, and even fewer understood.
Silence dominates here, broken only by the wind, a reminder that these deaths left echoes rather than voices.
At first, the town seemed unstoppable. Streets alive with energy, wagons carrying ore, and hope.
The silver veins were generous for a time, but beneath the promise of wealth lurked the inevitability of exhaustion and depletion that no one could halt. Merchants thrived on the illusion of endless opportunity, unaware that the town's prosperity was built on fragile foundations that would soon crumble.
The machines that had powered the boom began to falter, worn by relentless labor, a quiet signal that even the earth...
Residents felt it slowly, a shift in the air, as streets that once buzzed with possibility.
The veins that had promised fortune now offered only exhaustion and labor. A stark...
Stores once overflowing with goods now noticed empty shelves and fewer visitors, a subtle decay creeping into everyday life. By one, those who could leave did so, chasing opportunity elsewhere, leaving behind empty streets and quiet homes. Even the wagons that once carried hope now sat motionless, symbols of a town whose heartbeat was beginning to fade.
The mine that had promised life for the town now stood as a monument to fleeting fortune.
Its walls emptied gradually, possessions gathered, memories left behind, as the town's vibrancy drained from its streets and walls.
Revealed the truth. The boom had not lasted, and the streets whispered with absence, a town slowly succumbing to time and dust. Moments of wealth and success now seemed ironic, relics of hope that had dissolved under the relentless passage of desert days.
Portholes losses. The cemetery grows silent at day's end, yet each marker tells the story of a town built on ambition.
Dust covers the earth as it once filled the lungs of miners, connecting the living and the dead in a quiet, invisible embrace.
Shadows stretch across graves, telling stories without words.
reminding visitors that every life. Families who survived watched silently as their loved ones were laid to rest, powerless to change the invisible forces that had taken them.
The cemetery of Delamar speaks the truth the town could not. That ambition came with a price.
Today, Delamar stands empty, yet the silence here is heavy.
Certus. The buildings remain, fractured and worn, refusing to disappear entirely, as if holding on to us. Rusted machines sit frozen in time, their metal bones exposed, reminders of labor. Every crack and peeling surface tells a story of endurance, decay, and the slow passage of desert years.
Through broken windows, the desert looks back, unchanged, patient, and fully aware that it has already won.
The mines themselves remain open wounds, dark and silent, holding secrets that were never meant to surface again. Once essential, these mechanisms now rest useless, yet they continue to speak of relentless work and fading ambition. Shadows stretch longer than the structures themselves, reminders that time has reshaped this place more than any human ever could. Inside these rooms, debris replaces furniture, and silence replaces conversation. Signs once meant to guide and warn now fade into abstraction, their messages swallowed by rust and neglect.
Despite decay, Delamar refuses to disappear entirely, its ruins standing firm against the vastness of the desert.
Dust moves gently through open doors, tracing paths once walked by people whose presence lingers invisibly. At dusk, the ruins turn into silhouettes, suspended between what once was and what will never return.
Life returns quietly, pushing through stone and metal, reclaiming space without force or noise.
Decades later, modern doctors finally understood what the miners of Delamar never could while they were still alive.
The air inside the mills was filled with microscopic dust, too small to see, yet deadly with every breath.
Doctors now call this damage silicosis, a disease caused by breathing silica dust day after day.
Silicosis slowly scars the lungs, reducing breathing until even rest becomes exhausting.
But silica was not the only danger hidden inside Delamar's ore.
The gold was mixed with arsenic, releasing toxic particles every time the rock was crushed.
This poison entered the body silently, damaging organs slowly and without immediate warning.
The dust followed workers home, settling into clothes, hair, and lungs with no escape.
There were no safety masks, no filters, and no understanding of long-term exposure.
Every breath taken inside these buildings carried invisible damage.
The illness developed slowly, often taking years before symptoms became impossible to ignore.
By then, the damage was permanent, and treatment options were almost non-existent.
Modern medicine now confirms that Delamar's tragedy was occupational, preventable, and deeply misunderstood.
Warnings came decades too late, after the damage had already been done.
Delamar's medical truth stands as a warning. When danger is invisible, silence can be deadly.